Second. Hi, Samuel. Can you hear us?
Yes, hello. I can hear you.
Yes. Okay, good. Just a second. Let's increase your volume and ours down. So,
Okay.
please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for having me. Hi everyone, and welcome to our session. Posidonia, carbon to ocean, and the challenge of dMRV. My name is Samuel Lee, and I feel honored and pleased to be joining this session as a moderator today. It's great to see the audience present in the Blue Zone Pavilion. Welcome to everyone joining us online. We will be diving into one of the hottest topics in climate action, which is dMRV, and how dMRV can play a game-changing role in scaling up ocean-based carbon solutions. For this topic, we've got an incredible lineup of speakers and some very exciting insights to share. Before we get into it, let me introduce the fantastic panelists we have with us today and run through how this session will flow. Miguel Angel, Director of Carbon to Nature, is up first. He'll tell us about the Posidonia project. He'll cover everything from the project's location to its carbon sequestration methods and financing plans. And next, we'll hear from Javier Manzanares, Board Chair at Biocarbon Standard and Registry. He will share his take on the importance of methodologies for voluntary carbon markets and the challenges of aligning terrestrial and ocean-based approaches. Last but not least, Ana Luoveras, co-founder and chief scientific officer at Ecoestructures, will show us how innovative nature-based tech solutions are transforming marine biodiversity and infrastructure. After the presentation, we'll wrap up this session with Q&A and open the floor for your questions. Before I hand over to the first speaker, I would like to set the scene by briefly touching on the takeaways from the June dialogue that happened in Germany, Bonn. The key ideas shaping the world of dMRV and why they're so relevant and to what we're discussing today. As you may be aware, the dialogue in June had two topics. The first one was on marine biodiversity conservation and coastal resilience, and the other being technology needs for ocean climate actions, including financial links. There were 5 takeaways from the event, in my perspective, from the point of dMRV. The first being tech and its potential to boosting transparency, but also making carbon markets more credible. dMRV was also important from the context of national strategies and capacity building. Next year, we are expecting the next round of NDC updates, and member states will be in need of robust dMRV systems to enhance their ocean-based mitigation and adaptation efforts. Another highlight was shed on learning funding tools like blue bonds and concessional finance that could unlock opportunities. Participants also stressed on BBNJ's agreements, alignment with other frameworks like GBF and the Paris Agreement. I think the important point to make is that there is an absolute lack of viable options and solutions for ocean-based carbon removals. This is a study published by the London School of Economics compared to land-based removals, which have dozens of well-established MRV protocols. Ocean methodologies are severely underrepresented. There's almost non-existent. Comparing to afforestation and reforestation, which have well over 30 recognized MRV protocols. For oceans, there are only one or two options today. So this highlights that there is a progress to be made here, and that is probably the reason why the dialogue in June focused on learning the case studies from the participants that amounted to well over 300. So this is another. This session is an extension of that. We'll be hearing case studies from the speakers on what's possible and what are the challenges. In that context, I would like to hand over to our first speaker. Miguel, the floor is yours. I'm sorry. Just in case, I'm not hearing anything from my end. I just want to make sure that.
Next slide, please. We are a nature-based solutions developer that belongs to Iberdrola. Iberdrola is the second largest energy company in the world, the largest in terms of renewable business. Our focus is only nature-based solutions, and we are developing projects from the very beginning of the chain value with high impact in both local. Next slide, please. Regarding our portfolio of projects, we have a mix of type of projects trying to do the right risk management. 80% of our portfolio is coming from ARR, reforestation, afforestation, improved forestry management projects. 15 projects of our portfolio is coming from blue carbon projects, and that's why we are talking about that in this session. And finally, we are investing 5% of our portfolio in innovation projects, like the Posidonia project that we are presenting today. We have a different business approach, trying to combine the action on climate with territory, people, biodiversity, and ecosystems. Next slide, please. Regarding our distribution in the world, we are focused on the countries where Iberdrola, our mother company, has incumbent business. Now we already have projects under development in Spain, also in Mexico, Brazil, and Australia. We have right now 14 projects in Spain, and we are closing before the end of the year another 10 projects in Spain, 2 projects in Brazil, and 8 projects in Mexico. In terms of the size of the company, today we are the largest nature-based solutions developer in Spain by far. Talking about blue carbon. First of all, I would like to provide some kind of framework and context about why we think that blue carbon is really very relevant. So as the CEO of Google says, everyone has an opinion, but there is only one fact to support only one opinion. So I'm trying to provide you with some facts to support how blue carbon is playing in the future a key role in our opinion. First of all, 50% of the CO2 emissions today are being captured by the ocean. Half of our problem could be managed with oceans, and only less than 1% of that absorption is coming from the seedlings. Less than 1%. Okay, so imagine the potential if at the same time that we are investing in reforestation in the Greenland, we could do something similar in that area, doing some kind of restoration of the seagrass of the oceans. The capacity of the absorption of those projects would be really very, very incredible. We are talking about a potential absorption of 650 million of tons a year. What it is huge. Absolutely is like 5 times the total absorption that is coming from ARR today. In terms of the amount of money that these projects could mean in the future, we are talking about $2.3 billion on investment in blue carbon projects. That's why we think as a company, Carbon to Nature, that investing in blue carbon is key for achieving the goals on decarbonization that we have in front of us. Okay, but next slide, please. That said, it's true that we have to face some challenge, starting with the dMRV, and that's why we are talking right now about that. Another challenge is finding the right standard and finding the right methodology to support these type of projects, because today there is only a methodology in Berra and another one in Gold Standard, but both are working more in mangroves, not in the seagrass of the ocean. That's why I think that as a part of the innovation on this type of projects, we need to work with companies like Biocarbon to be sure that we are developing together the right methodologies for supporting this type of projects. Another very interesting point of blue carbon is that, as you can see in this slide, the connection of the different benefits of the investment is really very much relevant than other projects like reforestation. You are connecting different activities that are creating a huge impact in the local economies. So the effect of the investment in the local economy of a blue carbon project is very much better than other type of projects like ARR, reforestation, improved forest management. Okay. So after this quick context, I am presenting you what we are doing in Spain. Okay. First of all is why there is a need of doing the restoration of these areas. Okay. So talking about the Mediterranean Sea, it is true that we have in the past a healthy habitat for different reasons, mainly because the higher temperature of the water and also the activity of fishing, ships, recreational activities in the Mediterranean Sea. That habitat is being degraded very, very fast. So what we need to do with this type of projects is working on doing a restoration of that habitat with a similar technique than you can use in mangroves or in restoration of forests in the Greenland, and also doing the right monitoring and validation of the project. But as you can imagine, the challenge of doing that under the sea is completely different than a similar restoration project in a Greenland. Okay, next slide, please. So in this context, we are developing a project in the Mediterranean Sea in Valencia. It's a pilot project. The goal of this pilot project is validating 3 pillars of the future project. First thing is the methodology of planting, because what we are doing, and you will see more pictures, is doing the plantation of the Posidonia outside the sea in a biodegraded structure that we are putting under the sea after the seeding of the plant. Doing that, we are reducing significantly the cost of the restoration, and we are making feasible the investment with the revenue of the carbon credit. So with this methodology, we are getting the capability for funding the whole project through carbon credits. Another two things that we need to confirm in this pilot project is the dMRV, because doing this under the sea is providing a lot of challenge, and also the right methodology to ensure that we are creating confidence on the type of the credits that we are generating with this project. So what we are doing here, as I said before, is we are using biodegradable fiber nets, and we are planting in the Greenland the Posidonia, and we are using, next slide please, and we are putting in the seagrass, anchoring with biodegradable matrix in the seedlings. Okay, with that we are reducing significantly the cost, and also we are improving the capability of the plantation to be successful in the future. As here you can see how the plants are anchored on the seagrass using those stakes, and to be sure that all the structure is fixed properly in the seagrass, we are using mussels structures for data. Okay? And here is the final result. So we are creating around the plantation biomass that is capturing carbon, but also we are creating the right environment for increasing the biodiversity of the seagrass. Okay. So I think that's all regarding what we are doing. I would like to highlight that this is a pilot project. It is true that we need to validate a lot of things. We are working on 1 hectare. Once we have confirmed that everything is working properly, we will be able to escalate this project in another 50 hectares around the pilot project. But as you can imagine, there is a huge opportunity of this type of land, of the seagrass in the Mediterranean Sea, for developing and scaling the project to finally we get success.
Well, thank you so much, Miguel. Super exciting, and as you can imagine, we are very pleased to partner, eventually to partner with Carbon to Nature. I think at the end of the day, if there is a quantification potential of blue carbon for capturing in as many as 650 million tons per year, I mean, you can imagine that the interest from standards and the carbon industry is there. But I think we would like to share with you, and why is it that maybe only a couple of methodologies are thus far have been adopted. And from biocarbon, we work in tandem, both carbon credits as well as bio credits. This is something that only a few standards are putting as much interest and effort as biocarbon is doing. On the carbon market itself, our specialty is mostly in Afolo. We do plenty in agriculture, we do in forestry, other land use. We do some work in energy, transportation, and waste management. Those are the areas. We are entering with a lot of interest and working in ecosystems, and with a particular interest in wetlands, with a particular interest in blue economy as well. Although biocredits, we see that it's a market with strong future, but definitely it has to mature at least as the level to the level of carbon credits, and that is not to say much, because the carbon market is still it's still growing and maturing. But we do see a potential. We're putting a lot of interest. We have adopted a framework at the biocarbon standard. And as many other standards, what I wanted to share with you and is that Miguel, why is it that only a couple of methodologies, and you have mentioned a couple of good standards, right? Well, you go through an eligibility of requirements, and for that, depending upon the sector, you decide whether that standard is a good match for your project. After the eligibility requirements, you go into the development of the methodology. For the development of the methodology, we need a baseline. How do we make up a baseline on a seabed, on a seagrass? Well, it's not an easy undertaking, right? In the development of the methodology and the baseline, so the methods of quantification, we undergo an integration. What if I say integration? We undergo an assurance that there is the scientific evidence and data. Do we have data on oceans that we can go back and trace? Similar problem to the baseline. We have difficulties in obtaining data. So we move from the development of the methodology, at least at biocarbon, I think is carbon very similar to many other standards. But we go from that development of methodology, we go into the review and approval process. So biocarbon has got its technical committee. They review the calculations, they review the methodologies, they review the robustness of the entire model, and they proceed with a pre-approval. A pre-approval that also looks into co-benefits. And from biocarbon standard, we require that at least the project is meeting at least 3 SDGs, right? So that's part of the process. The project or program gets pre-approved initially to the level of a technical committee at biocarbon, and it goes now into a consultation process, public consultation process, so that we have to take all the inputs from experts out there. That's step number 3. Step number 4, we ensure that there is an integration with the community of science and academia. So we make sure that the most credible, reputable scientists and academia with their own methodologies are embedded or are at least coherent with this methodology. So all within that process, it takes a while, and it's not free, it's not absent of difficulties for the blue carbon. So at the biocarbon, I don't know if we can go one slide prior to this one. Thank you. So in essence, I think this slide is important because it reflects all the progress that the terrestrial, the land projects have undergone, that we still need to make good progress in the blue economy. So you have scientific certainty and maturity, if I can put it that way, from the terrestrial, whether on the blue economy we still face some scientific uncertainty. We do encounter some obstacles in verification and quantification in the blue economy, and we also have difficulties in finding viability, financial economic viability. So that we see that there is a geospatial and data limitations also in oceans. We see an ecosystem and a complexity of an ecosystem that is not as well known as the terrestrials. I remember I was talking this morning with some colleagues, and I said, well, when you talk about an open ocean, you are working on methodologies to calculate seagrass, and this is open ocean. So how do you account for the currents And how do you estimate when the currents are coming and leaving? Well, this is a complex undertaking, and it makes it more challenging and more interesting, at least from biocarbon perspective. So it is definitely within our goals. So if we could please move on. I'm moving to a different point, but it relates very well with the introduction made by Samuel at the very beginning. He was talking about the very good conclusions on this COP29 about the dMRV. We believe that DLT technology, and one others perhaps, that we believe the DLT and the adoption of DLT into a standard, I think it facilitates digital MRV. That is our conviction. That's where we have adopted DLT. That's what we believe is a good way to register a project, to allow for more transparency and security in tracking the projects, because it integrates very well, like I said, with digital MRV, and because it makes the transactions automatic. It just gives a good level of certainty. And within which not only DLT technology, but we have also adopted a format of tokenization of the carbon credits. We believe that there is a strong case for future on tokens, and this is part of the innovation that biocarbon standards and registries under them. And I believe, Miroslav, with this, I finished just with maybe a comment, perhaps on the previous slide, that biocarbon is one of those few registries that is integrated with the CAD Trust, along with GCC, Ecoregistry, biocarbon, and Verra, if I'm not mistaken. It is a good platform for true meta registry data, so that where information can be truly shared, made public, and where CAD Trust it's an offspring of the climate warehouse from the World Bank. So it also makes us proud to be at the level of technology to be integrated with the CAD Trust. And with this, I finish. Thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation.
Javier and Miguel, and now back to Samuel and Anna.
Yes, yeah, the floor is yours, Anna.
Hello. Can you hear me well? Like an echo? I don't know from everyone. Yeah, now it's working. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for inviting me in this fantastic session with all these panelists. It's really, really nice to know more about the projects that are currently going on Mediterranean ecosystems and how to restore them, and of course how to measure and report and validate the impact of them, and think regarding these new credits that can be used for this biocarbon. From my side, I would like to introduce myself and Ecoestructures and the collaboration with the project that has been explained before. I'm Ana Lloveras. I'm the scientific officer from Ecoestructures, and also co-founder. In Ecoestructures, we are a blue tech company placed in Barcelona. We are a startup that was launched 3 years ago, and we started to develop technological solutions to restore and renaturalize marine life. We work basically with marine infrastructures and in these coastal offshore platforms that are being installed in beforehand natural ecosystems. So if you can put another slide, please. So we offer multi-technological solutions, basically made from a product which is a biomimicry microreef. We have been has been designed especially to be installed in marine infrastructures such as ports, marinas, harbors, but also offshore platforms. The functionality of this biomimicry microreef is to accomplish the same functionalities of a natural ecosystem, rocky natural ecosystem. It's made by natural materials and a biocomplex design in order to offer to the biodiversity to get to renaturalize these environments. So we work basically, as I said, in marine infrastructures. There are these environments that has been damaged. There's a huge impact of human in terms of installation, in terms of activities, acoustics, and so on. So we offer to these infrastructures a place to the biodiversity renaturalize. But we don't only do this to install this infrastructure, this product. We also has developed different technologies to develop this MRV, no? So to monitor what's happening besides our product, and to report that in order to transform or translate these natural or environmental benefits to economical and tangible results. So we have developed our own technological systems to monitor that. We have observed right now we are having. Yeah, we can pass you can pass the other ones, not a problem. Thank you very much. We have been installed our technology in more than 25 environments. We have more than 200 units installed, basically in Spain, but we have another projects in Europe. We will install more than 400 units in the 2025. So we are increasing a lot our systems and our installations. And we have been observing in the first years are really complex ecosystems, which validates our technology in terms of renaturalization. And here in the images, then we have more images in another slides, but you can see one wall of a harbor that has more than 10 years made by concrete. It's a typical wall from some of the harbors that we can observe here in the Mediterranean. And 6 months later, we have observed a huge number of species, which validates our technology. And we can observe that marine infrastructures can be like a good transfer to restore these marine these infrastructures and to restore this ecosystem that has been damaged. So we provide a good technology to colonize and biodiversity to be regenerated. Also, as I mentioned, we have developed our own monitoring methods. We use digital platforms and digital tools to monitor all the good the benefits of the installation of our units. It's based by an ROV, which is like a underwater drone that we catch images and other information that can be used for our reporting, such as multi-parametric sondas, which give us information regarding pH, temperature, turbidity, chlorophyll. So all the data of physical chemical parameters, which are really, really good to know for our analysis. Otherwise, we have been using another EA tools in order to identify the species that has been identified and colonize our structures, in order to know which is the species richness, to calculate other ecological parameters that validates our technology, and we can observe these positive impacts because we know the baseline of the project and then what's going on besides our project. So we know exactly the positive impact. All this data we have put it in a database which is open source, and we have different front ends in order to report what's happening. We know that it's really interesting, not only for our clients but also for our society, in order to communicate what's happening, to communicate our projects, in order to see, okay, there are nature-based solutions that have been proved. They are not nature-based solutions that are going on, and how we are monitoring that in terms of reporting. I just only want to remark that we have been developing these protocols, and all the methodologies that we use are scientific based. So we have it developed with technological centers, with research centers. So it's not our method; it has been standardized and it has been developed by different scientific team. That it's from our side, it's really important. So all the data, as I mentioned, it's it's put it in the cloud, and with this iOceans platform, we can report it. That we use from our clients, we report all the data with an annual impact report. But they also have access to their data in order to play with that. They know exactly all the information that we get. We have it for every unit, and we also provide the information for communication tools, for sensibilization. We have an app which is public. You can download it with Ecoestructures, and you can see a Google Maps with every single unit that has been installed, and you can see all the impacts that each unit has in terms of biomass, in terms of biodiversity richness, and other typical parameters, as I mentioned before. So we think that it's really, really important to see the validation of the technologies, and that is a good tool for that. So yeah, we have been installed our technology in different environments. It's a good solution for offsetting the impacts in terms of habitat degradation, and also, of course, for ocean carbon removals. We are installing our infrastructure in offshore platforms such as oil and petrol, and also sea cabling. And our impact, we have observed more than 14 biomass observed. In comparison with the baseline, we have multiplied for 5 species richness. As I mentioned, we calculate also carbon sequestral and so on. So we can say no that our multi-technological solution, it's like a complete natural inclusive solution, providing tangible benefits and translating these environmental benefits to social economical benefits, but also it's like an impact offsetting. It gives cost saving to our clients. Of course, it's like aligned with the ESG's compliance, and for social engagement, we have different tools for that. We really like to explain that our goal is to restore or to regenerate and renaturalize more than 20,000 spots by 2030, which is a huge ambition objective, but we are going, I think, that in the good way, and making these human infrastructures nature positive or ocean friendly, which we think that it's a good objective to change this role of marine infrastructures to be like ocean friendly. Yeah.
Thank you, Anna, for the presentation. So that would wrap the presentation part. Now we have rather ended early. I would like to invite anyone from the audience present to provide questions, or anyone from participating online. If anyone in present can help us click on the mic for those that have a question. In case there's not, I will be directing several questions for each speaker. We'll wait a couple of seconds. I don't have any visuals on the floor, so
in the whole area. And we are talking about 50 hectares in the phase one, and we can escalate that project in the rest of the area. The goal is starting the escalation of the project in 2028. For doing that, as I said at the beginning, we need to find, with the help of biocarbon, the right methodology and adapting the current methodologies to this specific activity with Posidonia in the Mediterranean Sea. And also, we need to work together with Oceanestructures to be sure that we are developing the dMRV technology that supports the project. So now, if someone has questions here or from the people who are attending.
Yeah, well, I have a question. This is more out of curiosity and because I'm familiar with part of the Mediterranean Sea. And my question to you, Miguel, and to Juana, is that would it make sense to replicate this Posidonia project to the Mar Menor?
I am not an expert. I suppose that Anna, because he's ocean biologist, has a better understanding. But in my opinion, Posidonia is a really very the Posidonia need a very specific conditions to success in the plantation. You need a specific pH of the water, temperature of the water. You can only work in a specific depth between 7 meters and 12 meters because the plant needs sun, but not too much. So I am not sure if I think that there is not Posidonia in the Mar Menor, but I am not sure. Anna, can you answer that or not?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, no, I just want only to go for the beginning of the presentation that you have mentioned. So for a good restoration, there's a lot of work to do before to try to keep the impacts of which are the pressures of this ecosystem. So basically, the first thing that it has to be done is deleting or eliminating this impact that has been damaged for natural ecosystems and of course for these Posidonia meadows. There are these habitats that are really vulnerable, not only for human impacts but also for environmental impacts, as you mentioned, pH, but also temperature and other. So there's a lot of work to do before restoration, but we are like really optimistic, and we think that with the pilots giving us the chance to see other environments that can be used for this restoration of this vulnerable habitat. So yeah, maybe we have to select which are the best areas to restore and use different technologies, use different methods to restore that, and also monitor what's happening. As you know, in Posidonia grows so low, and we need some years to validate that the restoration has been done quite well. And for sure, we need these methodologies to monitor and to see what's happening. But it's a good thing that there are a lot of science doing these good efforts, and a lot of technicians investing and researching these type of methodologies, and not only to restore, but of course to validate that everything goes well.
Okay, are we concluding? Would you like to say something?
I would like to ask Anna about one thing that, in my opinion, is very interesting of the technology of Oceanestructures, is that at the same time that you are getting information from the project, you are creating biomass and biodiversity with the device that you are installing in the seagrass. You already said something about that, but I would like to know if you can explain further how that device is working, because I think that is an amazing thing, that you can use the same device that you are using for doing the control and validation is the same device that is increasing biomass and creating biodiversity.
Yeah, of course. So I don't know if you are referring to the device of monitoring or our biomimicry microreef, but I think both are good solutions, because in terms of substrates and in terms of our product, we have been doing some piloting in terms of let's say regenerate or put some fragments and put seedlings and restore other different communities, the different species. We have done a pilot of also with Posidonia, but it's like it's, let's say, a pilot. It's not a project implemented, but we are doing some R&D projects with that, with different scientific researchers for CSIC basically. So we have done these preceding techniques with our technology, with our product, with Posidonia, but also with corals like gorgonias. We have used it with the sponges and macroalgae. So we are developing standardized methods in order to precede these different species with the same method with our technology. So this is a good method in order to try to upscale these methods and try to do it as standardized as possible and restore these ecosystems in larger scales. So this is our objective, and we are doing, as I mentioned, some piloting. This is a methodology and product, but also with the monitoring, no? As you mentioned, what we have been developing, it can be used for everything, not only for our product that we have developed it for our validations, but it can be applied in other type of projects. We have developed this artificial intelligence model that identify right now more than 80 species. So it's basically they are basically for Mediterranean species. So of course we can put it and use it for these Posidonia projects that are implementing in other areas. We can monitor the species richness and other parameters, as you mentioned, Miguel, like biomass. And with this biomass, we can extrapolate the carbon fixation of this biomass. So it's related. And we are now implementing other parameters, so such as the ecological functionality of these species, because you can see not only the richness and so on. You can see exactly which is the functionality of the ecosystem, and then you can translate this functionality on the ecosystem services in order to know about more about the ecosystems that are being enhancing.
Thank you. This was a great job working on Posidonia restoration in Turkey. I just want to wonder, do you get the transplants from a donor side, or do you use seedlings? Where did you get those transplantation plants?
Yes, that is a very good question, because it's the key part of our pilot project. So we are getting the plantation. I am not sure if it's the right word in English. In the technical is ribosoma. Ribosoma is the baby plant. We are getting the ribosomas during the summer from the beach. We are selecting the right ribosomas, the healthiest ribosomas. We are using those ribosomas to be planted outside the sea using the structure. The size of the structure is 2 meters and 3 meters. And once the ribosoma is fixed to the structure, we are using a zip boat, and we are fixing that structure directly in the seedlings. That's why the process is very much cheaper than the traditional, because perhaps I had to say before that there is a good amount of projects testing the capability of human doing the restoration under the sea, but it is really very expensive because you have to go ribosoma by ribosoma with the cubing and the tubing men one by one, and that is a huge amount of time and a huge amount of money. So the different innovation piece of our project is that we are using a new methodology that has been proved in the laboratory of the university. Now what we are testing is if that is also working under the sea. Okay, we are finishing the collection of the ribosomas right now, 1 month ago. Now we are working on the structure. We are doing the planimetric study of the area of work, and we are starting the work with the structures during the spring, because you need to wait until the condition of the sea is good enough for doing that work. Yeah, but thank you for the answer, because I think that I didn't explain that properly, and perhaps is the key part of the pilot project. Thank you.
Is there anything from Samuel, perhaps?
Yeah, we have another 6 minutes. Perhaps I'll. There's room for one question each. Personally, maybe by order of presentation, I would like to ask first Miguel, since one of the topics that was discussed in June Bond events was that they highlighted the role of government's policy and the necessity for the government's policy signal towards the private sector to scale this sector. In areas where you have operated, I'm curious if you have encountered any regulatory challenges, and since you're in COP events, what would be your ask from any government representative that may be present in relation to the projects that you're implementing?
That is a very good question. Sam, I thought that you were my friend. Okay. I would like to know more about this topic from your side, Javier. So from the non-regulatory point of view, I think more about how ICRO standards are working in this type of innovation projects. But regarding the governance in terms of the Spanish government, I have to tell you that this is really, really very complex, because there is a combination of different administration and different powers in Spain. So you need to put into different levels of the regional authority, some kind of federal authority that is making decisions about the under the sea property. You need to pass a long process with a federal concession for working under the sea. So I think that but the local implementator who was creating the project, Sui Generis, spent like 3 years only to go through the permitting for getting the rights for doing the pilot project. Regarding the standard, what do you think?
Yeah, well, let me see if I can contribute. I think we're navigating uncharted territories, and in terms of regulation, it's still a lot of advancement and progress to be made. So when you ask about standards, I am hoping that a process of convergence between the voluntary and the compliance market should take place, and that's what they would give enough certainty, sufficient credibility, supervision, oversight, so on and so forth, to a market that is just growing by itself, completely, self-regulated. So I don't know if it helps much on the answer, but I think we rely, when I talk about voluntary carbon market, I think we rely on a level of supervision that has not happened yet, but it is taking place little by little. You see it in some countries, and I believe that's the way to go. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another 2 minutes. Since Javier has also responded, let me direct the last question to Anna. As a non-technical person, I'm curious to learn what is the state of affairs on dMRV, and what are the promising avenues that are being actively explored? Because through my brief research, I was able to find that there are 2 types of removals that have active MRV applications. Which one is ocean alkalinity enhancement and direct ocean carbon capture. I'm curious to learn if, on the science parts, what are the other topics that are being actively investigated or explored?
Okay, it's not an easy question. Yeah, if I have understood well, you are like asking for the barriers in terms of scientific, no, for accreditations as well. This is your output expected, more or less.
I guess my inquiry is on methodologies that are being explored.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a thing that we have to work with these certifications, and like it has been mentioned as BERA and certifications like that, because in terms of methodologies, is if all the scientific team we are working with the scientific community is working with methodologies that it has been published and verified. From our side, it's okay. So if it has been published, normally it has accredited that it's going well. You are working with science, so and by science. So for our side, it's only accreditation that this method has been published and accepted. But we understand perfectly that companies work in another side, and we need to get the similarities on scientific method, standardization and certification, and work together to find the same, and to find what is going in parallel, and see these synergies and can be accepted by scientific team, but also for these managers and accreditations and certifications.
Thank you very much for your feedback. I think your response was specific to carbon markets, right?
Yeah, but also for biodiversity, no? I think both. The problem for biodiversity is like that it's like a huge specific. So having these methods in order to monitor biodiversity, which are the KPIs that has to be used for the certification. It's not. I know that carbon is really it's not easy, but I think biodiversity is more complex. And so we have to work a lot together to see which are the good parameters that has to be managed and use it for these certifications.
Thank you for your response. I think that will wrap up our session. We're in time. Thank you again for all those present, both online and offline. And thank you again for all the speakers that have participated today. I would like to hand the floor to Miroslav on stage, and with that, we will wrap up this session. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, I think let's wrap up.
Thank you very much.
So
Pleasure.
I think we have learned all a lot today. It's an important area, and congratulations to this great pioneering work that you are doing. And yeah, wishing you much success and seeing you again next year at COP30 at the Digital Innovation Pavilion, where you will report successes and progress, so we hope.
Yes, sure thing. We will be in Belém, in Brazil, and we will report good news on this project for sure. Thank you so much.